Sometimes the most surprising moments come not from what we expect to see but from how a place quietly changes the way we listen. You arrive thinking you are there to evaluate ideas, to compare speakers, to rank clarity and strength, and then something shifts. The room feels different. The attention deepens. You realize you are not just watching talks. You are watching a city think out loud. That is the hook hidden inside this story. The idea is not about London or travel or even selection. It is about how environments shape the quality of ideas before words are even spoken. Context matters more than we admit. When we hear ideas in isolation, we judge them as products. When we hear them together in a shared space, they become conversations. London in this moment becomes a lens. A place where history, art, technology, and tension sit side by side every day. That layering shows up in how people speak. Ideas feel grounded but not heavy. Ambitious but not rushed. This creates a session where no single talk tries to dominate. Instead, each one leaves room for the next. The first surface insight is that strong ideas do not need to shout. Every speaker being sharp, focused, and fully present tells us something important. Clarity is not about complexity. It is about alignment. When a person understands their idea deeply, their words slow down. They do not rush to impress. They trust the audience. Think about everyday conversations. When someone truly knows what they are talking about, they explain it simply. They pause. They let silence work. The same happens on a stage. Presence becomes more powerful than performance. That is why a lineup can feel balanced even when topics differ. The hidden assumption we often carry is that great ideas compete with each other. That one must stand out by being louder, more emotional, or more extreme. But this session challenges that belief. Here the strength comes from contrast, not competition. Art sits next to nature. Nature sits next to technology. Each talk shapes how the next one is heard. This mirrors real life. We do not experience ideas one at a time. We experience them layered across days, conversations, and cultures. When ideas are allowed to coexist, they sharpen each other. Technology feels more human when placed next to art. Nature feels more urgent when framed by innovation. The third insight reveals a structural pattern. The most memorable moment was unexpected. It was not planned to be the highlight. It emerged because the room was ready. This tells us that impact is not always designed. Sometimes it appears when conditions are right. Attention, trust, and openness create space for surprise. In daily work, we often try to control outcomes tightly. We script meetings. We plan reactions. But real connection often happens in the unscripted moments. When someone says something honest. When silence lingers. When the room leans in without being told to. This pattern suggests that good systems do not force moments. They allow them. A new perspective begins to form here. Selection is not just about choosing the best speaker. It is about listening for resonance. Which idea carries forward? Which one continues working in the mind after the lights fade? Resonance cannot be measured only by skill. It is felt. It depends on timing, context, and collective mood. That is why different cities surprise us. Each place listens differently. Each audience highlights different edges of the same idea. This reminds us that ideas are alive. They change shape depending on where they land. Applying this to daily life changes how we share our own ideas. Instead of asking, "Is this impressive?" we might ask, "Is this useful here?" Instead of asking, "Will this stand out?" we might ask, "Will this connect?" In work, in school, and relationships, the goal is not to win attention but to earn it. That happens when we speak from where we are, not from where we think we should be. Watching many talks across the world also teaches patience. Not every strong idea reveals itself immediately. Some grow slowly. They need context. They need contrast. They need time to breathe. Just like people. When we rush judgment, we miss depth. When we slow down, we notice patterns. We start seeing how themes repeat across cultures with different words. How questions about identity, progress, and meaning show up everywhere but wear local clothing. There is also a quiet lesson here about curiosity. Traveling and listening for long periods without deciding too quickly builds humility. You stop assuming you know what matters. You let the room teach you. That posture is rare. It is also powerful. It creates better decisions because it respects complexity. Even the act of not spoiling a moment shows trust. Trust that the experience itself matters more than the summary. In a world that constantly previews and explains everything, this restraint is refreshing. It invites presence. It says some things must be felt, not told. As the journey moves on to the final stop, the deeper question lingers. What if the real value of searching for ideas is not finding the best one, but becoming better listeners along the way? What if exposure to many clear voices slowly changes how we think, speak, and choose? Cities pass. Stages change. But the habit of listening stays. And that habit quietly shapes who we become. So as you encounter ideas today, whether in a talk, a conversation, or a passing thought, what might change if you focused less on judging them and more on noticing how they shape the way you listen?